Hi there, welcome back to another video. Well, I'm recording this whilst I'm still waiting for a lot of parts. It's been a good 6 weeks or so now, but I'm promised some parts in about a week. So what I'm going to do, just to fill in this first part of the video, is to talk about some parts. Steering columns. I've got both kinds of steering columns that you might want to purchase, and I'll tell you some of the differences there, and I'll tell you about some parts that I've just got from S&J or Motors. Alright then, so I've got both steering column types here that AK recommends that you get for your kit. If you want more in-depth information on Boss part numbers, etc., then please look up Series 2, Episode 7, and I write down the part numbers that you might like to purchase, or what you need to get, depending on the model of steering column that you get. But I just thought I'd show you some more sort of visual differences, because I didn't do that last time. So on the left here, we've got you need an E34 steering column from a BMW E34, and they can be airbag or non-airbag, and I'll just tell you the differences just briefly. So first of all, the plastics. Well, you can see the airbag version on the left there is kind of a bit fatter, and the non-airbag is a slimmer, which might help you taking on and off the dashboard if you need to do that regularly or at all. There's different fixing options. I do particularly like that there's bolts going through here to keep the two halves joined together, because that is fairly difficult to achieve on the ones that just sort of clip together. But you know, they do both work, and you know, there are some fixing points in the top and the bottom of the plastics, so you can kind of use some of those plastic sort of, what are they, just fasteners to keep them together. But this is definitely a sort of better option for that. I do quite like that it's quite slim, but you know, it's up to you really what you choose. You can see on the airbag option here, it is a much chunkier kind of unit. I've already cut one of the legs off here and a bit of the metal work off the back, so it goes into the car. And you can see on here, on the non-airbag type, you would have to cut one of these legs off and a little bit of the metal work off there, so it fits in down the side of the driver's side space. Not really too much else in it. You can see that this non-airbag has a much smaller column here, and it's got a lower spline count, and then you have the much thicker column here on the airbag version, and there's more splines on there, and you need different bosses. Now you can look up, like I said, Series 2 Episode 7 for the full information. I have just found a box here for the collapsible boss that you need. I know it says E36 here, but I'm pretty sure that it's all right. Certainly this box is empty, so I successfully used it, and that's the part number. I think this is from Demon Tweaks, but you can find them elsewhere. So that's all there is really to it. Everything else, all the stalks are pretty much the same. I'll show you what they look like. That's what a stalk looks like. Once you've got to crack these plastics off. They're devilishly hard, so you just crack them off with a pair of pliers, and that's what you're left with. And then you can put on the nice stalk ends that you might get from AK, etc., or from S&J Motors, and I'll show you some of their parts. Okay, so excuse the haphazard mess here. I've just unpacked all my parts, and I have placed them all nicely so they don't scratch or anything, but I'm a bit short of space, and I'm eager to pack them up again and put them away safely until I need them. So we'll just go through them rapidly. So S&J Autos, you'll probably end up talking to John. Do tell him that Russ sent you, and hopefully he'll be able to sort you out with all your parts. So first of all, I've got the P700 headlights here. So they're all very nice. They come all with the wiring looms and everything else, spare bulbs, or the bulbs. And that's all good in there. And of course they come with the plastic do you call them bins or something? So that's there. And of course you have the headlight surrounds. You've got two choices of headlight surround, I believe. Either stainless steel or brass chrome plated, which won't spot with rust quite so easily. Onto the rest of the parts. So I've got some side repeaters, got some really nice vents, and you've got the trumpets that go underneath the vents that go into your heater, which is this heater here, which is purchased from Car Builder Solutions. It's the Heat 3, so you'll see me putting that in at some point. I've got a full wiper package, so I've got dual wipers. I think this is called the Bundy tube, so you need to cut that where each windscreen wiper kind of gearbox is, and it comes with the motor and everything else, and also this kind of worm gear that slides up inside, which is, you know, loads of fun. Got the full lock kit, which is bonnet, two bonnet locks, boot, and also the door locks, so really nice. And I've gone for jack lifters, or quick jacks, whatever you call them. So these are really nice from S&J, and of course you get two different sizes. I can't remember if it's small or large on the rear or the front, but they are stunning. So looking forward to putting them on. A little bit easier to put those on than lining up a full nudge bar. But you know, you go for different looks, either a period look, I guess, or a slightly more modern look. Gone to S&J for my exterior mirrors. So these are great. And I've got a rear view mirror as well. All the lights, I've gone for clear lenses with the orange bulbs inside, and of course brake lights and everything else. And got my stalk ends as well. Got a ignition switch, and they sorted me out with my dash lights, and I like these because they have a proper bulb in there. They're not LED, which means you don't have to mess around with a resistor or anything to get LED bulbs to work. I think that is still a thing and an issue. So that's all good. So there we go. Bonnet light there, all nicely chromed or stainless steel, and I think that's about it. The only other thing that I'm going to mention in this video is, I think in a previous video I said my brake servo, it's got these you know, the ports for the front and rear brakes, they'll be on the wrong side and quite buried inside the wheel arch. So what I've got instead, I've got a spare unit here, and that's going to have the ports on the correct side, so much easier to do up when it's instead of trying to reach underneath the wing. So hopefully that's given you a bit of an overview of what you can get from S&J Autos. Do give them a ring, do mention my name, that'd be great. No kickback or anything, it's just that they are awesome to deal with, sort you right out, and you get your parts in a week or so. It's great. They do also the chrome ring that goes around your gear stick, and they do some other stuff as well, like escutcheons that go around your roll hoops if you haven't got them from AK. That's it. And just to mention that there is an oldish price list for S&J Autos on my website, russhowell.com, underneath documents, so you can check that out, and you can see how much things generally cost for the full kit from some of the price lists that I've got on the website as well. So yeah, let's go on and fit some parts. Right, so I'm pleased to say parts have now arrived. I drove up to AK in Peterborough yesterday and spent some time with John and picked up all my parts, and had a little another walk around some of his chassis, and asked some questions which I hope to share with you as I build this car. Quite interesting, he was building a Mark III as well, so I could see where a bit of wiring went and everything else. But I just wanted to show you, we are going to be fitting all the water plumbing and everything else around the engine today, and also the electric handbrake. But I just wanted to show you a windscreen option from Anthony Hale at Crendon Replicas, I think. So you now have two window options. You can choose from going to Brasscraft and talking to Crispin there, who makes stunning windscreens. However, you know, one man operation, get your orders in really early because he takes some time to produce them. And he also has to ship a lot all around the world. But now you can talk to Anthony and get some windscreens from him, and I believe you can obtain them a little faster. I also think he doesn't like to post them in case of breakage, so you might have to arrange collection, so bear that in mind. But let's have a look at one. It's the first time I've seen it. Okay, so here we go. This is first time the lid's been off, and I've just eased out one of the legs. As you can see, it's all really nicely packaged and covered in protective film. Looks like the rubber is a lot kind of neater and inset there around the windscreen, which I like. These legs, well, they're pre-drilled, so that saves a lot of hassle as well. So you can use, you only need a couple of fixings in each, but obviously there's a lot of options there. So that's terrific. So I'm hoping that all lines up and saves a bit of in and out, because you kind of have to put them in, see where the holes are going to go, take them out, drill the holes, put them in, remark all the way through the hole into the scuttle and side of the bodywork, take it out again, drill the holes, etc. So this will at least save one of those in and outs. I note that they use metric fittings now, so if when you're going in the side, when you're fitting these to the side of the windscreen, it's all metric screws rather than this funny AB non-metric screw size, so that's quite handy. Hopefully we can also still take out the odd bolt if we need to fit in a windshield mounted mirror, if that's your preference. I'm not doing that this time, I'm body mounted. But as you can see, you get some escutcheons to go round to the legs, which is great. A couple of little rubber things which I had always pre-made. You don't get them from Brasscraft, so I'd always made these from a bit of a 1mm rubber. So we'll see what that thickness is like, and I still might do that, but these look pretty good. Got a key ring, great, and some more. Oh, so this rubber, now this is interesting because this feels a lot more flexible. This goes down around the bottom of the windscreen and provides that that barrier to stop water and rain coming underneath the windscreen into the dash area. So this looks fairly flexible. I guess we fit it to the bottom of the windscreen there, so there'll be a channel just under here, and we slide that in, and then it's kind of in that kind of actually this does feel about the same kind of thickness actually now I'm doing it, and then it ends up bending and flexing forward to provide that that barrier. So that'll be interesting. All good though. Lovely, lovely. It's always good when you find something well packaged and looked after. So that's that. Let's go on and fit some parts. All right, so first part we're going to have a look at is the prop shaft, which we ordered from Bailey Morris. So we drew up the dimensions of what we would like, sent them this the yoke that came with the gearbox, and they made up this prop shaft. So that's fantastic. They always do a good job. Important to note, you do need to make sure that you've got a grease gun and you stick some grease into these joints. So there is a rough diagram on my website, russhowell.com, and you can probably just edit that. Quite often these flanges are different. You might have one that has 4 holes on here, and sometimes just the 3, and you have different kind of spigots sticking out. Hopefully you can see that. So this is quite a long one. Sometimes there's just a bit of a dome that you have to take into account to make sure you show on your diagram. And you need to also take into account, if you do have something like that, you need to have enough play to be able to shove the prop shaft in a little bit further to like get over the bump, and then go back and fit it in. Now this is extremely long. I wasn't about to have that much play to be able to put the prop shaft in and then pull it back over this spigot. So I am actually going to cut this off to about 15mm long, and we'll be all good there. But I'll just show you that you know how it's roughly going to be looking. So this is extremely long, so as long as you've got enough in there to make a good mate, and then and then obviously we can just come in here, and once that spigot's a little bit shorter, I'll be able to move that in there, and then pull it back slightly to make the fitting. So that's all looking good. As long as you've got your gearbox, make sure the end, this is parallel with that. It doesn't matter, and it's better to be offset because it reduces vibration, etc. But it mustn't be not parallel. So you can't have the gearbox in this orientation and the diff like this or whatever. Those two faces, wherever they are, need to be parallel, and then it works a lot better apparently. So that's my understanding anyway. So what we're going to do, we're just going to buzz this off, and then we're going to fit it. All right then, so we're all greased up there. I've cut this off, given it a hefty hammerite and stuff, so to give it a bit of protection. Plenty of grease where required. So let's see if I've cut enough off, and see how it all fits. Right, yeah, so we're well clear there, and then we slide this on. And that is it, and hopefully all the bolts line up. So that's all good. Now I just need to check clearance, so I'm going to put bolts in here, maybe washers, just check there, make sure these are the right size. M10s, I've got M10 by 125, of course they're the 8.8 extra high strength. I know you can get 12.9 as well. These are fine. So I just need to check this out. Decide, am I putting washers on this side? Probably. And then we'll do, we're doing nylocks. Do another washer here. I just want to check the clearance of these once when it's all spinning, and make sure nothing's going to hit anything. Otherwise I might just have to take an edge off. So we'll get on with that. All right, so M10s had far too much slack in them. They would soon loosen or allow a bit of twisting before the slack was taken up. So we're going M12, which are a nice snug fit. So no worries there. I thought I had the right ones. I've got 8.8, but unfortunately just a tad short. So anyway, I'm pleased that that's all cool. I'll order some slightly longer ones with the correct nylocks, and then we'll be good. And that's an easy fit, even if they don't come until the body's on. So pretty chuffed with all that. Generally, that's all good. Nice fit in there, and we're ready to crack on. Right, so next up hopefully will be the complete handbrake, electric handbrake fitting. So we got the kit here, not including that pack of bolts. So we got the brains of the operation here, which will be fitting with the wiring loom. It normally goes in the sort of driver's side door shut space area. So that's all good. Got a switch, won't be using that because we've got push button switches. But we get that anyway. I guess they just got that when they purchased these from their third party. So this is the ram here that we need to fit, and then we've got a long arm that goes in and out, and we've got this little plate here which is actually from the handbrake fitting kit. So we fit the handbrakes to here, and I think it pivots here, and the whole thing moves in and out and basically pulls the wires to activate the brake. So we've got a whole range of bolts, not sure which bolts are for what yet, so I'm just going to go through that. Only got 4 nuts for all those bolts, so we just need to work that out and yeah, get started. All right then, electric handbrake time. So I've been getting a bit of a handle on all the bits and pieces. This seems to be the way that the arm needs to be working, and you can see here you basically have to stack this out with a load of washers so that these nuts won't foul, and the attachments from the handbrakes will sort of go round either side of this bar. So they'll fit on like that through the nuts. That needs to be tightened down with but allow a little bit of swivel movement. So that's all fine. So this bolt here is the main pivot, I'm guessing, because it's got the smooth part. It is extraordinarily long. I might swap it out just for a regular bolt. I don't think the threads are really going to cause any issue. It only moves, you know, in a 15-degree arc or less than that, actually. So I think that'll be fine. But you know, there is loads of room underneath this section here. So depending on where this all ends up, I might leave that bolt. Strangely enough, the bolt won't actually fit through the chassis hole, but that's only literally by about, you know, 0.5 mil, so I'll just drill that out, so that's fine. Plenty of washers to allow that smooth movement. Copper ease grease everywhere, I think, is the way forward, like I did on a previous. So that's essentially that. That's going to pivot out. So let me just show you where the ram goes. So here's the ram, and this needs to be fitting out the back here, and then this point will go through that hole, and it will get pushed in and out. Not much, I think. You know, I think it's kind of that much, I think. So what we need to do is be drilling this bracket for the ram on the back of the chassis here, and I need to get it so it's sort of in line, and it has to be in line so I can make that meet up with the bolt straight through. So it looks like I'm going to have to put this bracket as far over as I can. I am hindered by a diff plate here, but anyway, I'm going to mark it up as left as I can, and that will be fine. There is a little bit of movement once it's fitted. I do want to make sure there is a bit of movement, so this ram can slightly go left and right, because of course as it pushes in and out, it is a very, very slight arc and not dead straight, so it does need to be able to have a little bit of movement. So we'll see how that goes. I think I'll be putting some more washers in here as well, just so that it's not clamping dead tight and it has got some movement. I'm not sure if it needs the up and down movement as well. Likely not, but there we go. There we go. So I'm going to just mark this up on the back plate here, drill some holes. Now the M8s came with it, all M8s. On the previous one, I did just drill this out. It only needs to be drilled out about 0.5 mil. You know, for 4 holes. I'm going to put M10s in, just for a bit more strength, because I think, you know, this ram pushes out, I'm not sure if I'm talking rubbish, but I might have read something like 450 Newton meters or something, pressure. So, you know, there's a fair bit of forces in there. So why not? You know, M10s will be terrific. Anyway, let's get marking up. All right then, so I've drilled and tapped my holes. M10 might be overkill, but do what you think is best. And hopefully these bolts that I cut off will go in just fine. Just need to catch the thread there. All right then, so that's all done up nice and snug. So we've got some, you know, it's got enough movement there up and down, and it's got a little bit of sideways movement as well. So we'll now concentrate on fitting the arm. Good, so we're making some headway here. This arm is going to be sandwiched between 2 large washers there, done up fairly tight. But obviously just slacken off a little bit so it can move, but it needs to be able to hold its you know, position horizontally. Found out that this arm needs to be this way round, with this kind of a thinned off face here closest to the ram, because otherwise it can't fit if it's the other way around. So that's that. So I think I'm going to concentrate on doing this arm just a little bit tighter to give it its correct sort of position, and then we're going to fit the brake cables through this hole and have to slacken them off just a touch so they're nice and even until I get to this hole. All right then, so we are done here, I think. I think we've got the right balance between not too tight, just enough tension. So I slackened off these nuts on the back here to be able to extend these cables out until it reached this unit reached the hole on the arm. So that all seems quite good. So there's a little bit of just a little bit of play there. And you know, obviously the wheels move, so that's I think in the right position. I just slacken them off just to get that kind of play. There's enough play in this top unit. So this bolt was done up tight. I used the longer one with that wasn't threaded all the way through, so it's got this smooth bit in the middle. So that's got just enough movement in it. This arm is just tight enough to kind of hold it in this position, but it will move backwards and forwards. And then this bolt here is just backed off just slightly, just so that this ram has got a little bit of sideways movement and obviously a little bit of up and down movement as well. So I think I'm in a good place there. I'm not sure how far that ram pushes out, but or until it gets tight enough. So certainly I rate them very highly, and it's much better than a handbrake, which I know is quite difficult to get it to perform correctly. So so I think we're all set. If we do need to make any fine adjustments, you know, once the body's on, it is possible to reach up underneath the body and do these nuts tighter or looser to move it in and out. And of course we have the other fine adjustment inside the drums, where you can just move the drums in and out a little bit to do the fine tuning. So I think we're all set there. Excuse me being out of breath, but I'm getting on a bit. Right, so let's do the last thing today, which is all the plumbing, I think, for the engine. All right, so I quite like this next bit because we do all the plumbing for the engine, and I quite like working with all the silicone hoses and everything, and also the air intake. So what we have to do, we have to fit the windscreen washer tank and the header tank, leaving enough space for the air intake assembly here, and a new style air filter, which looks fairly similar to the previous one by K&N. It's a fraction smaller, which can only be a benefit because it does get a bit tight and up close to the radiator. So we need to fit these things, these tanks first, leaving a gap. I am a little wary from the previous cars as well. When you come to fit the front gas rams for the bonnet, the fittings get very close to the side of these water bottles. So I'm just going to see, I've got to fit, I think the idea is we're going to fit the air intake first and see where all that hangs, and then we'll adjust where we're moving these tanks to, hopefully so we can just have a little bit more space left and right, so that nothing hits. And I've got to say, in the previous 4 cars, the fittings never have hit. It's just become perhaps a little awkward fitting them, and extra space would be nice. Anyway, you know, I'm not going to squish everything up too much. Just one other thing, these do not balance well on here. Don't leave them unattended, they will fall off. I've actually just taped this one down so you can get an idea. But anyway, we're going to go and fit this air intake first, and then we'll mark up holes for the bottles. All right, so we're just going to squeeze the air filter on here. Now, usually this pipe is a lot longer, but it seems to be kind of cut to size now. So we'll just see what all looks like. So I guess we want it a little bit more forward. Obviously don't want it hitting the fan at the front, so it's going to be going something like this. So in actual fact, after everything I've said, this water tank is actually fairly hard up against this left leg radiator support, and I think that's pretty much going to be its final position. So we're just going to have to hope that it misses the gas rams on the bonnet. I think I'm probably going to just take it 4 or 5 mil away from this arm, just slightly closer, and we'll just get the other tank in as well and just see how that's fitting. So let's have a look here. Well, there's a lot more space on the right actually. So this is about 5 or 6 mil from the right hand leg, and I've got a hell of a gap here. Now this is, you can play with this just slightly. Obviously I can just pull this out at a bit of an angle and then tighten it in that space. So I am probably going to do that. You're not going to notice that at all when it's all done up. And I think that will give us that nice even symmetrical look that we're after, and allow me just to move this left hand tank just slightly over to the left. So that could be good. Yeah, so we'll just tidy all that up, and then I can mark some holes and take it all apart. All right, so I think we're going to go with that. So the gap there is negligible. It's a good 5 on the left and maybe 7 on the right. I could tweak that right hand one over a bit more, but I don't think I need to, and I can always just tweak the air intake slightly. But in the scheme of things, you know, it's when you're just scanning your eye around an engine compartment, you're not even going to notice that. By the time all the other paraphernalia is in, I think that's pretty good. The left one is pretty against the this left hand bar, and there's definitely more space on the right hand one. But I think we're okay. You know, the tolerances from the workshop perhaps will give you different results on different days when they fit these the legs to the tanks. But I'm pretty happy with that. So we'll mark up the holes and get drilling.
Just like you, trying to meet the expectations of this life. But I wrote my own set of rules. You should write your own too, so we can feel alive. Let's get lost in the night, lost in the night. I'm gonna be there, yeah, be by your side. Let's get lost in the night, lost in the night. Nothing can compare to this feeling, alright.
All right then, so we're moving on to actually doing some pipe work now. So you get a nice selection of silicone pipes from AK in the colour of your choice. I've got a shiny stainless bottom pipe in place here, just loosely, just to show you where that goes, down from the thermostat. There we go, and then there's a intake just here, which goes up to underneath there, the header tank, and then we're going to have a stainless steel pipe from here and round to the top of the rad. And then we've got a few kind of air pipes and things. So we've got all the pipe work to support that, hopefully. So it's quite devilishly hard to kind of record all this, but I will try and take you along as I do each section. Particularly, I'm hoping to fit a Munson bracket to the bottom of this. So I briefly showed you this before. This is a Munson bracket. I think it's a good idea to support that bottom stainless hose, and you can support it on that bottom chassis bar here. So I'm going to just measure that up and fit that as well. That has featured in a previous video. I think I had to just take this thread to this stud down slightly so it can be slightly closer, because there isn't a hell of a lot of room between that chassis bar and that pipe. Anyway, I'm going to have a look at fitting those, cut hoses to length. These are all just a tad too long, and I'll show you that in a sec. All right, so this is my first pass at fitting the hoses. So we've got the hose coming down from the header down to the stainless bottom hose. That's all looking good, and this hose as well. I think there was a time when I received one of these and the legs were not very long. So I didn't have enough pipe going into the hose, so I just ordered my own a little bit longer. But this one, I seem to have enough pipe in there, so I can get in there, and I'm going to fit my Munson bracket. Hopefully, so it's going to go somewhere around there. Hopefully that's focusing. So I'm going to just measure that up and drill and tap a couple of two holes. So we'll see that in a second, and that's just going to hold this and save the hose bouncing around, you know, flexing and stuff, which I don't think is that good. So it'll just hold that bottom hose stiff. And then we got the hose here. Now I haven't used AK's hose. They say they never have a problem. Whenever their hose is a slightly bigger inner dimension, which I'll show you in a sec. And I always get a leak here because the radiator out is a bit smaller than the stainless. So I don't use theirs. I've got the next size down by a couple of mil, so it goes on here really nicely, and it just yeah, you have to push a little bit more firmly to get it over this slightly bigger hose here. But I don't think it's a strain or anything, and you can just see that over here that I've got the two hoses, and it's only fractionally smaller, and I just had some left over from a previous build, so I'm just going to use that one rather than trying to cramp this one up tightly. I always seem to get some sort of little leak there because it won't crimp and Jubilee clip up nicely, whereas this one is practically a seal even before the Jubilee clip. All right then, so you can see a bit of colour appearing now. So all this bottom hose is all A-OK, got a nice fall down there, nothing kinking. Got that slightly tighter hose there, which I think is A-OK. Everything's looking pretty good here. I quite like the gapping that I've got here. You know, there's so much chrome and shiny stuff knocking around. I don't think you can really tell about the gaps at, you know, first glance, unless you know what you're looking for. And of course there'll be a lot of other paraphernalia and stuff going on. So I think that's pretty nice. So I'm just putting on these hoses now. This is something to do with air pressure or something. So that's just a little hose. Got to have really small Jubilee clips. This one up to here, to over here on top of the engine. It's nice to use a bit of braided fuel line. I think that looks quite nice instead of tube. I might have a little revisit. I might see what it looks like with blue, but I'm not sure if I've got enough, because on this side it goes all the way. You kind of go, I think, underneath the fuel rail here, and it goes into that red right at the end. So we'll have to see what that looks like, but I think probably braided is the way forward. The only other thing we got a thin bit of hose, and that's for the overflow here. This just goes down, just drops straight down to the floor. I'm probably going to sling a P-clip on the bottom there just to keep it from flapping around, because Mr. IVA man will like that. The route of this hose to the top of the rad here isn't great, so what I certainly don't want it going across the top of my shiny tanks here. So what I've done in the past, I tuck it sort of down there in a loose S, and then we come around here, and I'm going to put a P-clip around here somewhere just to hold it, so it can hold that kind of tension so it doesn't slide, and that should be quite nice there. So I'll just tidy up those last few bits. A little update here. So I found some old end finishes, so I thought it'd be nice to have blue on the end here. So they're looking pretty nice. I think I changed my mind on this route here a couple of times before I'm happy. I think I normally end up doing it here. We have a fair amount of cables to come in from the loom that go underneath, but I'm pretty sure it all tucks out the way, and then I can just zip tie this nicely to the fuel rail, so it's a nice bend there and fairly symmetrical. And then I've just got another end finisher there. I ran out of blue, but I think just the blue concentrated around here is fine, and a different color there. So that's all good. I'm pretty happy with that. Tiny little P-clip on here for this overflow. Right, so I need to do a P-clip. Sorry, this is a Jubilee clip, tiny little one. Get a couple of those. So I'm just going to buzz in a P-clip to hold this pipe down here, and buzz in my P-clip here to hold this in a loose S. All right, we're doing the top stainless hose now, which is connected by 2 bits of silicone. So I just measured the first bit I need. And top tip, if you put a Jubilee clip round and have a really sharp knife, then you should finish with a fairly good, nice, neat cut, all apart from the bit that's around the actual Jubilee clip. But you can just put that bit either at the bottom, or just move the Jubilee clip round, and you'll be good. So let's just finish that off, and there you go. Got a nice cuts there. So that's all good. So we'll just put that into the pipe, and then measure the next piece. All right then, so this piece goes around here and squeezes onto there. So that's all fine. Push it on a bit further, I think. Okay, and then we just need to make a short piece up here. Now, I'm not sure if the hose will support this and stop it banging around. I suspect it will, and certainly there's nothing in the instructions. However, previously I have put a large P-clip around here and just supported that pipe right there. So I'm going to fit this hose first and just see if I think once it's all done up whether it's going to support it well enough. All right, so I'm pretty happy with that. Just run out the correct size Jubilee clips, unfortunately, but this holds it pretty damn steady. It's not about to start knocking into this header tank or the chassis, so I'm pretty happy just to leave that as it is. So I think we're all done there with all the pipe work. We're all connected, thermostat down, header tank all the way down, everything else. This is all nicely clipped up. So we are hopefully done. Obviously we've got to fill it up with some coolant and check for leaks. Much easier to do that now before the body's on, so you can still get to P-clips, etc. But apart from that, we are home and dry. So what else are we doing? All right, so I think we're going to stop it there. I think we've achieved quite enough for this video. In the next video, we're going to be testing the brake line. So I'm going to mount the foot pedals to a block of wood, and then attach them to the brake lines and test that for leaks. It's really good to do that now before the body's on. Got a few more little parts to arrive. They're all just quick jobs, So we're also going to get the body on as well. I'll see you again.